Welcome back to the JavaScript 0 to Advanced series. In the last video, we covered if else and else if statement for making a decision in our code. Today, we are going to learn about the switch statement, a cleaner, more readable alternative when you need to compare a single value against multiple possible options. By the end of this video, you will learn exactly when and how to use the switch statements, and you will understand why they can make your code more elegant. Let's dive in. The first question is, what is a switch statement? A switch statement evaluate an expression once and then compare that value against multiple cases. When it finds a matching case, it executes the code block associated with that case. Think of it like a vending machine. You press a button, let's say B3, and the machine check all its options until it finds B3. What's in that slot? The which statement is particularly useful when you have one variable or expression that could equal many different values and you want to do something different for each values. Instead of writing a long chain of if statement, switch gives you a clear syntax. Let's look at the basic structure before we write any code. So the switch syntax. Here is the general syntax of a switch statement. First switch, then here is the expression. We are passing the case, and in this case we passing the value what we actually want to compare, then break, then again case value, and then break, otherwise default. And okay, let me break this down. A switch keyword is that the statement expression, this is evaluate once at the beginning, the case, each case represent a possible value, and break stops execution and exit the switch block, and default optional run if no cases match, like the else statement in the if statement. I mean like the else in the if statement. Okay, now let's see this in action with a real code example. Okay, this is a real code example, and this is a little bit big, but this is helpful. Let's create a simple example. Imagine we are building a program that tells user that what to do based on the day of the weeks, right? Now a few things here. First, we evaluate the day once at the top. Then JavaScript check each case in order until they find a match. Second, see how Saturday and Sunday share the same code block. We can take case like this when we want to multiple value to trigger this same action. This is called fall through, and it's one of the powerful feature of switch statement. And thirdly, default case handle any unexpected values. If someone entered Monday by mistake, I mean Monday means sorry Monday, not Monday. If they passing the Monday, that means this it will be a printed. But if there is something called anything like evening or Monday, Sunday, I mean sun sun, or just run the sun, not day. So it's printed. That's not a valid day. Okay, and there is the importance of break. I mean this break statement break, and this break statement is what stop JavaScript from continuing to the next case. Without break, JavaScript will execute every case that comes after the match one. This is called fall through, and while it can be useful sometimes, it's usually not what you want. So what I mean by that, so we already console log this, right? So before we are implementing, we are moving to the console in our console. So just comment it, and now go to your console and check what is the output given from what printed in our terminal. So clear note, it's called switch statement and enter. It's a instead of of the work week. Let's be productive. What it's this is, and this is printed properly. If I write something Monday, then see what happened. Not a valid day. Okay, great job. Now save it, comment it. Okay. Now let me show you what happened without break. Without break. Save. Remember, our score is B. Here is the B. Go, note. You see all 4 messages that because without break execution fall through to every subsequent cases. So remember, always use break unless you specifically want to fall through a behavior. Okay. So this is the another use case. So remember. Now comparing with the switch versus if else. You might be wondering, when should I use switch instead of if else? And this is a great question. Let me show you this some logic with a both approach. If else and comparing with switch case. Okay. The switch version is cleaner and more readable, especially when you have a many cases. Use switch when you are comparing one variable against many exact value. Use if else when you need complex condition or ranges. You see one thing, if apple fruit equal apple, then render this, right? Otherwise banana, orange, grape. This here you are implemented all the code, right? And here you just implement the apple. If apple is return true, in this case it's only returning this value, otherwise we don't need to return those value. But you can also pass, but you see here is you are need to comparing multiple time every time, but here you don't need, just passing the value and that's it. Okay. Now comes with the best, I mean practical example. So create a simple calculator with the switch statement. This is the code. Operator num1, num2 and result. And the switch statement, there is expression is operation. Case will be the plus, minus, asterisk sign, they multiply and divided. Okay. Otherwise, in this divided, you see we are implement also the if else in this use case. So it is nested. Okay. So I hope try to understand every line of code, read it, because I already explained this part in our previous tutorial, previous videos. You already see how to implement in backtick and how to get the result with and calculate those values. And this is actually real use case. So that's why I showing you here. So and multiple time I'm giving you a practical example. So it could be remember, you maybe remember these lines of code when you are try to implementing in yourself. Okay, that's why. Okay. Here, this demonstration is a real world use case. We are switching on the operation type and performing the different calculations, right? Notice that we can still use here, right? If statement inside our case when needed, like the checking for the division by 0. Wow, great job. Okay, good. Now, switch with expression. Here is something interesting. You can use expression in your switch statement, not just simple variable, okay? We know the expression, and this is the expression. This is the expression. See, we can compare also, right? By switching on true, we can evaluate the different condition in each case. The first case that evaluate to true will execute. This is a clever technique. Through the honestly, a traditional if else chain might be more readable in this scenario. Okay, but this is you can do it with switch statement also if you want. Okay. Now, there is a few common mistakes beginner should do. Before we wrap up, let's talk about some common mistake that beginner makes with the switch statement. First mistake is forgetting break. This is the most common one. Always ask yourself, do I want to follow through behavior here? If not, add a break. Okay. And mistake number 2, non-strict comparison. Switch use a strict equality, meaning the 3 equal. Okay. So meaning both value and type must match. These won't work as expected. Okay. Okay, great. Great. Mistake number 3, forgetting the default value. Default case. The fallback. While the default is optional, it's good practice to include it as a safety net for the unexpected value. Okay, so the forgetting the default. All right, let's recap what we learned today. Switch statement provide a clean way to compare one value against multiple options. Use break to prevent the fall through unless you want it. Stick the multiple cases in execute the same code for different values. Use default as your catch all cases. Fallback. Okay. Switch is best for execute value comparison. Use if else for complex condition. Okay. In the next video, we are going to dive into logical operator and not, which will give you even more power to create complex condition in your code. Okay. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop any question in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.